Hey everyone, Chris Gibbs, Shire President for Shire of York here. I'm going to do something a little bit different this month for my monthly video and show you a new addition to the Shire of York website, which a lot of community members might be interested in, and that's the Minutes Index. Let's take a closer look. I'm on the Shire of York website and I'm on a tablet, so just be aware that some of these tips and instructions might vary a little bit if you're using a PC, a laptop, a mobile phone or a tablet. So based on using the iPad here, I'm at the Shire of York website, and the first thing that I click on is Council Meetings. Now when I get to the Council Meetings page, I can scroll down and there's a new section underneath the section that talks about public question time, and underneath the section that talks about deputations, there's a section called the Minute Index. And I'm just going to read out what it says. The Minute Index provides a searchable reference to council meeting minutes dating back to 2014, helping you quickly find specific agenda items and council decisions. So that's pretty handy if you're looking at something that's been coming up over time through various iterations of council from 2014 onwards. So there's a link to view the Minute Index, and there's an instruction as well. So I've got the Minute Index, and then if I'm on a PC, it is Control F, and if I'm on a Mac, it's Command F. So I'm going to hit Command F, and that brings up a search of the minute register, okay? So I'm going to search Allawoona, because the landfill site is something that the community has been talking about and dealing with and considering and working out what our stance is on for quite some time now, okay? So I've put in Allawoona, and according to the index, there are 15 different iterations of that throughout the council minutes that are listed. So then I can use a down arrow on the right-hand side, and I can see where it is and when it appeared. So having a look, there was something as far back as 17th of Feb 2014, and then as I go through, it goes to the next one. There was one in March as well, and it goes forward. Now you'll notice that the minutes will change. The way they look, the index will change depending on how new it is. When you get through to more recent minutes, it's much easier to work out exactly where those minutes could be found. So I'm just going to scroll forward a bit and have a look, and we'll see if we can sort of choose something to have a look at. So I move through, and yeah, it becomes more of a table as you look at more recent entries, whereas the earlier ones you have to have a bit of a look. If you're trying to look at the earlier ones and not sure which minutes to go to after you've found your entry, look at the back end of the item number, because that's the month and the year, and you would go to those minutes, the Shire website. So on this section here, I'm going to have a look at something that was to do with Allawoona, and it says that it happened in May 2023. Okay, so I've got that. So I go back to my main page, and then I go and have a look at the minutes, and that's under past meetings. Okay, from the same council page. And then I go to the appropriate year, and then I go to the appropriate OCM, and then that will bring up the minutes, and then I've got the item number was sitting there in the previous minutes index as well, and I can read up on what happened with Allawoona at that particular meeting. Okay, so there's lots of different things you can search for. There's lots of different ways that you can go and have a look. Once you get used to it, it's really easy to use. And it's just a little bit of switching between that first screen and a second screen to go from the index telling you where those minutes are to going to the actual minutes section of the website to have a look. The minutes for an OCM go up approximately a couple of weeks after every OCM, so it happens fairly quickly. And don't forget, there's sometimes tips in the minutes themselves where they'll mention that you could go and have a listen to the recording that accompanies the minutes now for more detail. For example, if council debated something, that won't necessarily be notated in the minutes verbatim, but you could go to the section of the recording that has that debate and listen to the audio for it. So there's lots of things you can listen to if you can't make it down to an OCM, but as a reminder, the third Tuesday of every month at 5 p.m. is the agenda briefing, where you can come and watch council ask questions or clarify items that they're going to be voting on the next week. Or you can come down to the OCM, the Ordinary Council meeting on the 4th Tuesday of every month at 5 p.m. here in Council Chambers, where you also have the opportunity to ask questions or present deputations. And all the instructions and tips for that are on the same section of the Shire website under Council and Council Meetings. So have a look at that and see what you think. Or as always, you can get in touch with a councillor or get in touch with someone from the administration if you would like to know more about the comings and goings of council on the Shire website. And I'll see you next time.